group of hungry middle schoolers rushed into the cafeteria. Philip, Henry, Amanda, and Christy filed into their seats across from one another at the long, rectangular table. "That class was truly horrible," said Amanda. "I know, right?" Philip answered. "Math class conjures within me a deep and timeless dread, a horror beyond comprehension, that which lingers in the middle school air this very day." "Or maybe it's not math class," interjected Henry as he sat back down, having just returned from the restroom. "What's on the menu today?" he added innocuously. It was at this moment a spectre resembling Christy re-emerged through the cafeteria fog. "Hey guys," Christy said casually. "Hey Christy," said they all, in reply. Christy continued, "I forgot to bring my lunchbox at home, so I had to get school lunch." Amanda's stomach dropped. "I feel sorry for you," she muttered, barely more than a whisper, and she shook her head in dismay. Almost before Amanda could react, Christy had begun to raise an innocent-looking cheeseburger to her mouth in preparation for a bite. Amanda suppressed the urge to vomit and quickly gestured for Christy to stop. Suddenly, a harrowing silence fell upon the lunch table, but only their table. Somehow, while the rest of the cafeteria continued as loud as ever, this specific bubble of 4 friends fell secluded in a mysterious silence, causing the spines of each fated middle schooler to chill and tingle. The cheeseburger remained in Christy's now strained grasp. They lingered in this moment for what seemed like 1,000 years. Finally, Christy broke the silence. "What? It's just a hamburger." Philip had been shaken to his core, but knew that someone needed to do something. He mustered up the courage to witness the so-called burger for the very first time apart from legend. He had always heard tales of burgers like these being served to middle schoolers all across the country, but he never thought it could actually be true. He didn't want it to be true. Philip looked at the dreadful sandwich a second time. His gaze lingered on it now, and he noticed something peculiar. The burger, which sat cunningly before him in Christy's palm, looked quite normal. Some perhaps would call it indistinguishable. It was with this very thought he knew the myths were true. He had to speak up. Philip gathered himself. "Christy," he paused. "You know." "Nay?" he asked timidly. She was utterly lost, quite blissfully ignorant of several awful, imminent truths. The look of confusion on Christy's face made it clear to Philip, and now Amanda, that she still did not understand exactly what caliber of meat she held in her hands. Amanda decided to join in. "You know, nay?" "Nay?" Christy did not respond. Her glazed eyes further terrified the already sickened children. Amanda could not take it anymore. "It's horse meat! It's horse meat burger!" she blurted out, involuntarily rising to her feet in the process. She did not notice the air around her falling eerily silent once again. Meanwhile, Christy had given no reaction at all. She seemed completely frozen, eyes still glossy, not out of disgust or repulsion, as her peers now felt at the thought of counterfeit burgers, but out of fear, the third primordial instinct, to freeze. By the time Philip's and Henry's brains received the visual signal of the danger before them, Amanda's torso and head were already gone, devoured. The crunch of her bones resonated in Henry's ears as Christy spewed puke all over the table. He could only sit in horror and watch, as the grotesque being unhinged its jaws even further to swallow Christy whole. None of them had seen it, sitting there at the table with them. A 5th middle schooler when they had thought it to only be 4. A 5th. Something. It had been there, disguised among them as a normal student. Come to think of it, Henry had noticed a kid at the end of their table eyeing Christie's burger, but he figured the boy was just hungry, a tragically accurate observation. As these final thoughts coursed through Henry's frail and now existentially troubled mind, the being took Philip. Henry watched him go feet first, his eyes popping out from their sockets at the last second. He and the creature locked eyes, and its long tongue unraveled, slithering onto the table to slurp up the unholy burger, vomit and all. As the being's tongue retracted and it inched toward the shaking Henry, Henry's mind raced with thousands of unanswerable questions. Though it did not matter, within fractions of a second, he was devoured in 3 portions. No one ever found out what happened to those 4. A large search party searched diligently around the school for weeks, to no avail. Certain students still have trouble sleeping at night, the ones who remember seeing Philip, Henry, Amanda, and Christie that morning before lunch. Charles, Brian, and Chelsea all saw them there. Even to this day, they lie awake in their beds, frantically recalling the sinister atmosphere of the lunchroom that day. Reverberated voices of laughing middle schoolers, echoes of agonized screams, and the sound of freshly exposed bone. Silence fills the cafeteria. Muted questions whir in the minds of the fortunate and unaware.